Yeah. Yeah, I thought I took her to the mic gets right away.
What's the letter get up in the midst, get up in the town?
In 2 weeks. Yeah.
You got this one?
So far.
I was one that I wrote, but I don't see it.
Well, I really think we need, I need to reach out to cities, tell them we're going to do something about this. Give them a chance to, show us if they have. The only one I recommend is someone. That's in my.
Well, I just thought I'd throw some notes there.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Just some of it helps. It's a question.
I mean, it's very.
One day after he's ready to come in, pretty good. Got 4 clear, and then the other 16, and I picked up one more. It's been a wild ride. And I got new systems going in. That's starting to pick up now.
There's nothing on it. There's nothing.
Anyway. Yeah, that's.
One sheet, huh?
Pretty good.
Looks like normal.
Bobby, how are you doing?
No, you get you out there. Do the assessment on this. Properties, yeah.
Yeah, with the
First, yeah. That was working kind of on it.
Mm-hmm.
And, now I'm not sure if it's the one I think it is. It might be some of the other ones. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. See, you think someone figures it out.
Everybody loves their own property.
Like I said, I have no sentimental attachment to this.
Did you hear that Susan Purdy passed away today?
So that's stuff, our needs, especially if I can get pieces.
We got something back it up. We got something back it up.
I just wanna know what part.
Yeah, it's not.
It was around, we got something back it up.
She would just.
So I got back to the Colt 1896 rifle.
Ooh.
And it sold for a little over $9,000. At Lighthouse. Right there.
I haven't heard anything from Danny.
Got some more. Drove down, got it. Said I got served.
This week, I was playing some of the weapons, my niece called, and said, I know, you know, that's. Well, says, it's okay to come over and tell this, I said, sure, what come on, you know.
Yeah.
So she came over Saturday, and her and her friend.
Waiting on the commissioner.
Did you get your phone?
No, I didn't.
Did you shoot it with a gun or a?
Showing some of the.
Now I get. First.
There it is.
In here from home.
Next.
And they were like, "Sure, it's not fit." And
Anything else to shoot at?
right over,
What, do you do anything with the kayak?
16 days.
Just get rid of them. There's.
And, it's like,
I,
problem
you know,
is,
that's,
you can't
because I
find
know there's people that
Yeah.
go out and come to home and like, but I don't know, I'm just keeping up with them, just because they harm animals. Right?
I never say.
The one I used, I'll tell you what, when I first discovered, I got a couple of pin shots. There's one I put. And, I think it had been made by inches. This is what? But there was a Winchester model. Big bucks. And I mean, I got excited. Yeah, I found it's just like one of them. I thought, it just kind of, it was a knock. It still works.
Hey, today, can you offer bird? Hey, good morning, everyone. We'll do the flag salute and prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey,
Heavenly Father, we come to you this morning just asking for your blessing over this meeting and ask you to watch over our county and our employees and help these commissioners do things that would be according to your will. In Jesus' name, amen.
good morning, everyone. I reviewed the minutes and make a motion that we approve them.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
We have a different person here today on,
Bill's not here. He quit. No, he didn't. I'm just kidding.
I do have a copy of the payment to River City that was in the bills today. We've been specifically approving that payment and also in the bills.
Oh, that was the one we,
Yeah, I gave you.
yeah, you, preview of it. So is the current payment due is the 433? Is that what we're doing, David?
Yeah, 433, 750.03.
That was my motion to approve that bill for the contractors for River City.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
And then I have the whole claims run. And like I say, that amount is included in the claims run.
Okay.
You want the whole, the total is $749,206.59. My motion to approve the bills.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We pay the bills in that amount. All in favor? Aye. David, you got anything else?
I'll have a couple things we can do later. Nothing
Okay.
pressing.
You got anything pressing?
We've got a small change order that I thought we'd do, Warren's here. This is actually one that's from back a ways too. This is nothing new. This is the official approval, and it amounts to $2,434. And, so it had to do with some of those utility revisions that were done around the side of the part of the building. And so it's, change order number 3, if you want.
Where's the amount?
Amount is right.
What is it?
It's part of the cost of
The utilities?
move some utility stuff.
I thought we already signed one for that.
You authorized them to do it.
Oh, to
But this is the
proceed.
official
Okay.
change order.
Okay. Can I see that?
Yep.
Are you looking at?
What was the amount? This is not everything regarding the utility. There were
basically 3 alternate items out there.
Yeah. This is one of the two.
Is this the price?
That, the price list up here.
Oh.
Do you want to come on up? And what's your name? Warren.
Warren is Bill's boss.
I want to talk to you.
We're
Bill.
supposed to be equal. We're equals. So
Go ahead.
just an update. We're going to get off to a slow start this week due to the rain over the weekend. Currently, I'm seeing 10, hoping 12 guys out there at least today. There's more rain in the forecast for Wednesday and Thursday coming up, but we're getting now we're we're out of the mud. We've got our engineered fill going in, and that allows us to able to keep working on a lot of these days after rains or weekends or days after weekend rains. So, which is a good thing. I'm sure Bill mentioned this, but we lost in the month of February 2 weeks due to just extreme low temps, and then another week, which we always is always the case. Everything defrosting, and our most recent schedule update, we are approximately 3 weeks behind, and so those items that got affected by the weather they were critical path schedule items, and we're going to look to gain ground. We've been working some Saturdays where we can, where it makes sense, and so we'll keep moving forward that way. And other than that, it's going fairly good.
All the utilities have been moved where they need to be moved?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we had, what Gary was mentioning, this particular change order. This was more a design change on the west side of the building. Moving like a grease or a sanitary line coming from the kitchen's grease trap from underneath like generators, the main generator transformer, which was a good design, revision. There's some credits and ads associated with it. I just got pricing on Friday for the water line relocation across the north end of the site where it crosses over the street. And I know we got some reseeding still to do on that. And then this work down here at the southeast corner where basically we had an existing water line, existing gas line in direct conflict with new storm line. So that work is now done. So that's behind us. So.
Okay.
And our biggest install, our deep sanitary manhole is complete, and that went pretty well.
Okay. You got any questions, Danny?
I don't. I mean, well, actually, I do. That road over here, he mentioned that it's going to be open back up here shortly. Is that still the plan?
Yeah, I mean, that building is so close to the edge of that road right now. We could probably open it up for a while. We're afraid once the mason gets started.
Moving around.
I mean, he is right there with pieces. I mean, some of his equipment's about as wide as
Sounds like the city's been pretty easy to deal with you guys, and
they have
working
been.
really well. I mean, is it hurting them to have it shut down? Do you know? I mean,
No. I mean, I know we've got access for the two houses leaving that way. And the lady lives in that corner. I mean, we're not blocking anything off that I'm aware of. So we're not preventing anyone from getting to their houses and away from them.
Jim, you got anything?
Nope, I don't have anything.
Anything else? Warren, thanks.
You just need a motion to,
I'll make a motion that we approve change order number 3, which was in connection with the
Utilities?
relocation of the utilities for $2,434.89.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
There's only one place.
Thank you.
One thing is on check,
So I just sign right, does Rick sign the owner? Signature.
Yeah, Rick actually is one design.
Okay.
Thank you.
Galen, you want to go?
Good morning. My name is Galen Anderson, Operations Manager for American Medical Response. Our numbers for, at this point in the month, we're at 24 ambulance transports. And then the last rolling 7 days, our trend has been 14 transports. So ticking around about 2 a day. So staying pretty steady with that. I got an update from our National Fleet Coordinator on the SUV that our supervisors will be responding in. And it'll probably be about a month before it's here in town in service.
Gotcha.
So they order it, they send it to another third-party vendor who basically converts it into an ambulance service vehicle. So that's where that's at. And we've completed the onboarding and orientation for the part-time paramedic that we hired. And so we're sitting good as far as staffing goes. That's about all I have going on. Any questions for me? All right. Have
Thank
a good
you.
week.
Sheriff's numbers. I'm assuming he's not going to be here since he emailed it this morning.
Doug?
Doug Bartlett, Fire and Emergency Management.
Where do I sign?
We got a chance, marginal risk for severe weather the next couple afternoon, evenings, and then another inch and a half of rain between now and Thursday when it quits. Fire calls, 126 year to date. This past week, 11, 2 were medical, 6 were grass and brush fires, 2 other fires. 1 was a chimney fire, 1 was a wood pile, and then a miscellaneous call. 4 on the 9th, 5 on the 10th. The fires we had on the 9th going into the 10th, winds were 35 to 45 miles an hour, sustained for about 36 hours. We did use over 20 pails of our F500 product. So I would like to purchase 50 pails of that. Cost is $145 for a 5-gallon pail for a total of $7,250. We do have $12,000 in our budget for department supplies for that particular line item that it would come out of. So we do have money in the budget budgeted for replacement of those type products.
How much do we know? I know it varies from year to year. We didn't use much last year at all, did we?
Last year, we didn't use a whole lot. We don't account for every pail that we
Sure.
use. But occasionally we use it on a fire if we get one that we can't get put out, things like that. In this case, we used it because of the winds and trying to keep up with the brush and stuff. We were batch mixing it in our tanks. We were using it to try to get trees on fire, on fire that were 20, 30 foot in the air because it was blowing embers into 3-foot tall grass. Like I say, we use at least 6 pails on the fire at 600 Montgomery. Our fire service sat on it all night, making sure it didn't get into the grass and burn further stuff, including a couple of houses downwind of the situation. That fire was intentionally lit. We will be getting information to Gary so that hopefully it can be taken to codes court, whereupon we may get reimbursement for some of our costs in that. We used probably $1,000 worth of F500 on that fire alone that night. Because of the situation we were in, the fires we were having, I told them to batch mix a pail per 2,000 gallons of water. It's a little light on what the product spec calls for, but at least it gave us a jumping start on all the problems we were having. And like I say, we used about, I think, 19 or 20 pails of it just on Tuesday night.
So you need approval for $7,250?
$50, and that includes the delivery costs, so.
Okay, any discussion?
I seen that fire, so I mean, I take my hat off to the firefighters on that deal. That was a terrible situation on that one.
The men and women on our volunteer fire service do a phenomenal job. They get paid minimum wage, and they come out all times, day and night. Like I say, 3 stations sat on that fire all night to make sure it didn't get away because we couldn't get the trees down. They had tried to get the county's track hoe out there to pull trees down that were on fire. It was not available. And they decided rather than try to lease one somewhere and get it out there and get an operator out there to go ahead and just sit on it. So they did all night.
Are you getting a lot of good involvement from your volunteers?
We're still short of volunteers countywide. We do the best we can trying to recruit them, but it's hard. They're hard to come by.
So if somebody wants to become a volunteer, who do they get a hold of?
They can get a hold of David Lamb at the clerk's office. They can go online and fill out an online application that gets back to us. They can contact our office directly. So there's a number of ways they can talk to their local fire station personnel, and typically the fire stations will have an application or two sitting there that they can just hand fill out. So there's a number of ways to get that.
Do you, and I know you run a really good Facebook page. Do you ever put it out on there?
It's been put out on our fire department Facebook page. We have in the past advertised it in the newspaper. We typically don't do that because it costs, no offense to the paper, but it costs quite a bit of money. We haven't actually got any applications or people signed up from that. Word of mouth from our fire service is the best way to get it. I see you, I ask you, encourage you to come. The other thing that's been somewhat successful, and we're getting ready to start again, is the Northeast region gave us one of those orange highway message boards. And we have programmed that. Chris has helped us programming it and move it around to the communities, whereupon it says, if you'd like to volunteer, call this phone number. And we've actually got about as many volunteers doing that as we have some of the other things we've done. Jackie Messer is going to use it to try and recruit some temporary help. And either in conjunction with that, or once that's done, we've talked about going ahead and getting it back out into our communities. Because that's actually been the one thing that's done the best for us.
What's the name of the chemical we're buying?
It is called F500.
So I'll entertain a motion for that, for buying F500 at $72.50.
I'll second that.
No, that's my motion then. He'll second it. All in favor? Aye.
And that's all I have for you unless you have something for me this morning.
No, sir.
We'll be watching the weather the next few days.
Chris, you got something?
Barb, didn't you say?
Burton, you here?
Hey, Barb. Barb.
You want to make a speech?
Barb.
Good.
Thank you. Burton Harding, County Attorney. Again, not a whole bunch of an update. The last time I was here, you asked me for some numbers. I had called the court clerks to ask them to kind of put together some sort of numbers.
Who is that?
Talk about the Historical Society. I did. I called you about talking about the Historical Society.
You can just have a seat and we'll get you right in, all right? Thank you.
I called the county or the court clerk and asked to get some numbers to bring to you, and I might have to get with you to see exactly what kind of numbers you're looking for, but because she wanted to know which numbers exactly, so she's putting some together that I can bring to you. Hopefully.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be all right. Is there anything in particular you want to see give numbers on?
Yeah. But otherwise, things are kind of still clicking along. Again, Mr. Martin got us set up with a system for note taking and a way to manage this case a little bit better with the limitations of the software, and that's been working real well. So I'm happy about that. Operating pretty well under budget so far, and I think things are going well. So
Thank you. You got anything?
I don't. Did I sign that?
Thank you, Burton.
thank you.
Okay.
Tisha?
Good morning, Commissioners. Tisha Coleman, Linn County Health Department. I'll give you the COVID update. Linn County cases total is 780. Active cases is at 20. Deaths is at 12. Hospitalized is at 0. And we have one new cluster. And then we have tested so far to date 47 with our machine. Last week, we administered 170 COVID vaccines. So that gives us a total of 1,508 pandemic vaccinations given, 999 prime doses, 430 boost, and 79 Johnson & Johnson, which is the one-time shot. The next thing that I have is I'm just going to need, my grant application is due today for what's called from KDHE. I can go through the amounts. This does not include WIC. This does not include our other COVID supplemental that we did.
Is this a normal grant or is this something in addition?
So these are the normal grants with the exception of adding the COVID-19 ELC expanded infrastructure for $148,290.
And that's the new grant.
That's the new grant that goes through June or July of 2023. Even though it says at the top, grant period July 1 through
Right.
through June 30th, 2022. This one, we had to allocate our money or whatever, and then some of it is carryover. So the new grant is $148,293. Immunize Action Plan grant is $4240, and these are allocated amounts for Linn County. MCH is $11,328. Public Health Emergency Preparedness is $13,467, and what's called the state formula is $7,000, bringing that total to $184,328. That does not include, like I said, the other 2 COVID grants that we've already done, that I think one of them goes through November of 2021, and then it also does not include our WIC.
Is that a federal grant or state?
Which one?
The COVID, the 148.
It's coming from KDAT, which my guess would be coming from federal. I'm not for sure
Okay.
exactly where
Okay.
that's coming from.
No problem.
So what I'm requesting of you is a signature on that so that I can upload this and finish my application process.
Okay. Can you give us a little rundown of what that
So
money would be used,
with
could be
that,
used for?
$148,000. Last week, you guys, I emailed to you, and you may have gotten from the Kansas Association of Counties in regards to what this funding can be used for. Salaries, overtime, hazardous pay for staff working with COVID, supplies including computers, wraparound services, supplies for persons in isolation and quarantine, internet upgrades, phone system upgrades, professional development, travel and electronic health records, IT, enhancing IT infrastructure. Let's see. I think that's the gist of it, if you will.
Okay.
So with that, our electronic health record system, we purchased previously.
Is it
So we have
reimbursable
that.
through that fund?
It was paid for through Spark, so we
Okay.
can't double dip.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to,
I tried.
so one of my requests to you would be to give our health department staff who have been actively working and working their tails off a hazard pay, which would be a 10% one-time bonus for this coming year.
What else? What would the IT? Give me some examples.
So IT, something that I put on there was a proximity, what's it called?
Okay.
And we're gonna, yeah, and so I've put that on there, and that's, I think, around $4,240.
Professional development, what would you do with that?
Training and education conferences, we can use it for our governor's conference that's in April, which I plan to use for the next 3 years. Any type of public health emergency preparedness or planning, COVID conferences.
But are there
these
any
type of-
programs that your nurses or your staff could go through that would enhance their career and
Perhaps.
help the county?
Yeah, perhaps, yeah, right. The CSTE conference, which is disease investigation, tailored to disease investigation, I believe would probably be included in that. I mean, that's also included in some of our other grants too,
Okay.
if an option, so.
Okay. What discussion we have?
I don't know, I just, as far as the 10%, there's a lot of people in the county that's been in this situation that probably wouldn't get that besides your
Well,
help.
we're not approving that today, though.
Right.
Yeah, we're not approving that today. We're approving the authorization to apply for the grant, right? Okay, we'll fight that battle.
Okay, and I do need 10 minutes, executive session,
You're gonna be last, though.
it's fine.
Okay. Are you okay with the approving?
Yeah, we can approve it.
Yeah. Are you okay with it? Approving the grant? So I'll make a motion then that authorize the application of the grant for $184,328.
I'll second.
And that's for the State of Kansas Department of Health and Environment.
What's 148?
184,328 total.
Is what's coming from Kansas Department of Health and Environment.
Get a second.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye. There you go.
Can I get a signature? And then I'll get a copy back to you guys.
Did, when you and I talked, we talked about, that possibility of that other one for, the people that's in connection to me. Is that still open? I didn't want to, yeah. So, I guess you picked up what I was laying down then.
Yeah.
Skip Childers. Yep. Skip Childers.
Ms. Childers, would you like to step up there and make a big speech to us?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to give you an update on the Mound City Historical Society.
All right.
There's been, last year, I didn't even open the park because of the COVID. And I'm wondering what you advise this year, whether we should go ahead and open it up on weekends, if you think it's safe.
Well, Jim, it's kind of your area. I know how I feel. I'm okay with it. If
Oh,
I am
okay.
too. I mean, you guys have to make the decision, but I'm okay with it.
you're not going to, I don't think any of us are going to yell at you or say, close it down. And you know the rules on it. Just be safe.
Well, there are some things that we really need to get done this spring. I don't know how much information you want me to give you or how detailed you want me to go into, but there's a leak in the depot roof on the southeast corner, and I need some advice on that, to find a roofer that knows how to deal with tile.
I believe,
I'm so hard of hearing. I'm sorry. I'm 94 years old, and I give that as an excuse.
my name's Danny McCullough, and I think whenever I was a laborer, I think I was one that put those the new slate tiles back on that corner. Wasn't that recently redone?
Well, it's been
years ago?
repaired once, but it isn't. Last time I was down there, I checked, and I have a pan under the. And the pan had about that much water in it, so.
I remember those slate tiles were really hard to come by. I think we might have a few of those laying around. I'll look and I'll bring them over to you if we do.
Okay.
What's she going to do with them?
Well,
Are you going to fix your mess?
I just put Thanks, Rick. We just put the tile on. That was it. I was a laborer.
Well,
Just what we brought.
that needs to be fixed, and I would like for somebody with a ladder truck to fix the flagpole so we can have a flag again. A couple years ago, I had a new pulley and a new rope put on.
See, if you look to your right there, hold your hand up, Jackie. That guy will help you out. He's the guy with the answers.
I had a new pull-in rope put on a couple years ago, and it lasted about 2 weeks. Somebody come along and cut it, but it needs to be done.
Okay.
And I can't find it. Okay.
Skip, I think the main thing they're wanting is to hear a report maybe once a year about what you did with the money that the county did.
Okay.
I
Well,
think that's
I
main.
always just wanted to bring awareness to the community as far as what help you need too.
all right.
It's-
I've been kind of on my own since Mary Asher and Ken left, and Helen and John Barnes both are deceased. So I've been kind of on my own, but there hasn't, it's gone well. But I would like to have some help. I'd like to have somebody volunteer to be a board member, to be a president. I would like to stay as secretary treasurer. I've been for like 30 years. I've been volunteering, and I'd like to stay as that. But I'd like to have somebody as president and
So you're
give some advice.
looking for some help.
I'm looking for some help. Okay. and your approval, I need some approval from somebody.
Do you?
I-
Oh, go
I
ahead.
volunteer all my help. I always have, but I think we're going to have to hire a tour guide on Saturday. I don't know if I can still do it on Sunday afternoons or not, but if we need a tour guide on the afternoons of the weekend afternoons, so that's one thing to find is I think we've got enough money to start paying them.
I wonder about, that, teenage program that Jessica has, if there's a way that Skip could get some funds from that to hire high school age students to do that.
Okay, I've been very careful with the funds. We've got $10,068.21 in the checking. And I got $5,000 in the savings, but $352 of that belongs to the Wesley Chapel renovation. A few years ago when I started that, I asked volunteers, so that money was donated. So that money still belongs to the Wesley Chapel renovation. So that's $300, but it's in the savings account. Jess Randall's name is on the checking, and so in case you didn't know.
Ms. Childers, my question would be that, so it was closed down for a whole year because of the COVID thing. It was closed, your museum was closed for a year so far?
Museum is,
Museum, yes.
you mean the whole park?
Yeah. Has it been closed?
Well, it's been, the building's
Okay.
closed.
So, but when in 2019, do you have a record of how many people actually came there and visited?
No, sir, I don't, not in 2019. I had a big sign up
Uh-huh.
in tour buildings, no tours inside the buildings until the COVID scare was over.
Yeah.
So I haven't put that out, of course.
No, but prior to the COVID, do you have any numbers? How many people did the elementary school take tours through there or anything like that?
Well, that's another thing I didn't have much time today. I had to discuss. That's another thing I would like to do is get the school history involved in some programs in the James Montgomery Underground Railroad in the Fort. I thought we could, put on a real little interesting programs for the sixth graders or whatever they teach out at Jayhawk. Whatever history class
Okay.
studies the Underground Railroad. We could have some programs that. I'd like to get that involved. And I would really like to get a horseshoe tournament started. Do you know that the world, the world champion horseshoe player came from Mound City, Kansas? So those are two things I'd like to get done. I'd like to get a program going with the school children, and I'd like to get a horseshoe tournament started, which I've tried for 2 or 3 years, but can't.
And you're the only person there's no other board members or anything, just you.
Not for,
You're a one-man show, one-person show.
if you want to put it that way.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
So what we need to do is if there's anybody that's interested in helping her in the community.
Yeah.
to get-
So how do you work with the county
what?
historic? How do you work with the county historic society?
How do I work with
Ola May,
Yeah.
does she give you your money?
Ola May sends the money
Okay.
to the Mound City Historical Society. I've been the treasurer for years
Of that?
of the Mound City Historical
Okay, the
Society.
Mound City.
That's what runs the park and owns the park. And we also, 3-4 years ago, we bought the Wesley Chapel Church out on Wesley Chapel Road, and all the money that went into that was donations. I have not spent a cent of historical society money on that church. But when my time is over, I'd like to see that the church is kept mowed around and, looks
Sure.
decent.
So how many people do you need on your board that you want to make for the Mound City Historic Society? How many people do you need?
Well, just one or two, somebody to, I need one or two people just to give advice, like on this roof and on these different things. And then we need to find some workers for the weekends from 1 to 5. I keep the park open from 1 to 5 on Saturday and Sunday afternoons for tours. However, there have not been as many tours well, of course, last year it was closed, but I didn't have a whole lot in 218, a whole lot of people, but there is there's a, let's see, an entity called American Freedom, I think, from Overland Park that came down to the park last year, or in 218 it was, and gave me said that they would be willing to help with this for organizing tours from the city. So, of course, we own that lot back used to belong to somebody, well, it belonged to the city when we bought it. And that is suitable for parking space. Several years ago when I was organizing tours, I had a couple bus drivers tell me that no, they didn't want, that they'd never be back again because there wasn't any place to park. So that was why I was really interested in buying that lot. So a lot of things have gone okay, but some of them like I said, I'm use the excuse I'm 94.
I don't blame you.
So I think with you coming in today and talking over the camera and stuff, people have kind of heard what you need, and hopefully they'll come forward do they need to get a hold of you if they're interested?
Yes,
Chris, or any way we can
I've
put something out on our
it's time to
website?
send out dues notices, and every year I send
For a
out
couple
about
days.
40 dues notices. And last year I asked for somebody to volunteer, but nobody.
Mrs. Childers, when you get ready to leave here,
Yeah.
go see that guy back there in the far corner, and he'll put it on our website, ask for volunteers to contact you.
Okay.
And I don't know who you'll get. You might get a bunch and you might not.
Okay. Well, do you have any specific questions that I can answer?
I got mine answered.
I'll tell you what, I just was told that the historical societies would like to be able to come to the commissioner meeting and see if there was any interest in the community to help you guys.
You know, I used to know all the commissioners and be very involved in community activities, but things have.
You know this guy, right?
No, I don't think she did.
She didn't?
I'm the one that called you.
Oh, you're the one that called me.
I'm Rick James. I'm up in the Lacine area. And that's Danny.
Well,
He's the one that put your leaky roof on.
oh, and one more thing. I really wanted some help on an
Free advertisement right there.
Oh, I didn't think of that. I'm sorry.
We have the 1914 Mound City fire wagon cart, and I got that, got the spokes and everything, got that repaired. The wagon masters down at the Amish company repaired the spokes and everything. So what I need is old hose. I'd like to get that old 1914 wagon going and maybe rent a couple costumes and have a couple firemen pull it in the parade. So anybody, David, I think I've talked to you about it before.
I'm not on the fire department anymore, so I don't have access to anything.
We'll have to talk to Doug Bartlett about that.
Okay. Well,
We'll help you out, though.
if you've got any questions or complaints or suggestions.
I think I can speak for everybody that we're trying to really get this going for you guys again and try to help out as much as we can and, not let it kind of slip away from us. So you'll probably be hearing from us here in the, shortly, and hopefully we can get you taken care of. And I think talking over the camera, I think that might help, people that are watching us, they might volunteer, and hopefully we can get going.
Well, I'm very pleased with the amount that we do get from, sometimes old age, a long time in sending it to me, you know, and I wonder, but anyway, I'm very pleased with the amount that the historical society gets. I think we can we budget ourselves carefully. We don't need any more money, we just need help.
Good. Thank you.
That's another question I've had. Is there anything that we could directly pay each one of these $4,000 each time?
That'd be a policy thing for you guys to talk about. I mean,
My understanding is that old maid was under the impression that that's what was going to start happening, and she's not been feeling well and has had a hard time keeping up with things. And her son said that she would actually prefer us to pay directly to the other.
How do you guys feel about like, you know, like a representative from her board or, and then, you know, all
Should have-
the other boards?
Yeah, but yeah, the other boards.
And then have them, and that's what the Linn County Historic Society is made of. And then, you know, they come in, you know, they meet once a month or whatever. I know that's going to be hard. But from what I hear, they don't meet at all hardly. So, you know, try to get them to meet
Because of
once a
age,
month
I
or,
think.
right. And, or once every 2 months. Then they come in and talk to us like she did. I think it would help out a lot.
I did have a sheet from another historical society person recently. It's just talking about the money that they get and that it's split evenly between 5. So I have that record. So I know who the 5 are. I don't have addresses or contact people or anything.
What do you guys think, like if we did it biannually like that and ask them to come in when we don't give them their check? And then they,
Biannually? Or-
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, you know, twice a year, if we gave them their check?
okay,
I'm just asking,
Yeah. No,
we giving them a check twice a year, right?
yeah.
If
We've
they
already
just-
done the first one this year.
Right, I understand that.
And I got Janet Reynolds is coming on March 29th. Can you get her on for 10:15, 10:30?
I don't think it's, you know, they're getting money. I don't think it's a whole lot to ask for them to actually meet and, you know, have just a small amount of requirements for them to, you know, be able to receive that money. You know, it sounds like right now, that hardly any of that happens. They just kind of just roll with it. So, and I've been talking to Allie Hamilton a lot, and that girl is very driven. I don't know what we can do to get her involved, but she talks to me a lot about it. There's you know, she has a bunch of grants that she knows about. I think she would be very beneficial somehow if we could fit her in somewhere to do something.
The important thing for you guys to understand is the Linn County Historic Society is not.
I understand that.
So how they organize, that's up to them.
Right.
We can't just come in and say, okay, do it this way.
And that's-
But you can give the money directly to the individual organizations, and I think that's what they all.
I think that's what I'd like to see. And I don't think we need to be donating any more money or getting involved in it. But to me, to bring them here and
Let them
bring the
do it.
awareness to the community of what the Historical Society needs
Right.
for help and see if they can get some involvement.
Gotcha. I'm good. I like the direct payment to them. I think they would all prefer it with everybody's.
We need to vote on that then, or?
It's probably a motion to direct David to split that money up 5 ways equally.
That'll make him happy. Yeah. He gets to write a lot more checks. You writing it up? You typing it up, David?
Uh-huh.
All right.
It's like Allie Hamilton, she has, you know, those signs. Has she shared them with you?
Yeah, I've seen the signs that she had, and she's looking for money to,
Right. Which
like I say, we need to get donations from people in the.
I
I
agree.
don't think the county needs to be putting any more money in it, but,
Yeah.
No, I agree. But I think that to be able to get as, you know, volunteers that we need, it's going to take involvement. And I think we don't have any right now. So that's, I would just.
Here we go.
Just to send the payments directly to the 5 historical societies in the county instead of one check to the Linn County Historical Society.
That's my motion. What David just said.
I second it.
Been moved and seconded. We give direct payments directly to the historical societies themselves. All in favor? Aye. Go ahead.
All right, Jackie Messer, Public Works Administrator. We had oil bids, right?
Yes.
You gonna do them first?
Well, we're open them. Go ahead and go. Keep talking. Well, we'll get you out of here. You said you got a meeting.
Yeah. Speaking of oil, I just want to let you be aware of a tank that I have up in. This tank is up in Lacey.
Right.
It's mostly full of old, unused oil. Road oil mixed over the years, just what was left over. I just want to let you know I'm reaching out to try to get some companies to give us a bid, remove the oil, and then we'll dispose of the tank. Because right now it's just a mess. We can't do anything with it, can't use the oil, can't. So we're gonna have to contact, I'm gonna get some bids on it, and then I'll.
Hey, Jackie, is this, on this bid, is that what you're looking for? Each individual thing? Okay.
What I'll do is I'll take, I'll compare them.
Okay.
And then, compare this one. I think I have a.
Now, you put out the ad, was last week. Are these the ones prior to that?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't
Did
think
you have any
anybody
additional?
resubmitted, did
I
they?
didn't see anything else come in.
Okay.
Nobody resubmitted them.
So were you okay?
Yeah, I think that all you wanna do is read the names of the companies submitted, hand them to Jackie for him to, tabulate, qualify, and,
This is basically what we'll end up doing. This is an old one, but we'll just take and compare each bidder and then figure out which one overall is lower. But okay, we'll have to,
No bid on MC 30. SSIH is 205.
and we gave an estimate of the oil used, but we don't know until we get started.
220. CRS is 210. AEP 245.
That's
45. Here's better than that.
Some of you are high compared to these.
EA 300, no bid.
Few of them.
So what are you gonna do about the ones that they don't have a bid on because either they didn't want to or they.
Where they don't supply that, we'll factor it in. It's usually better to get them all from the same one, but we'll have to look at it too, kind of, once we evaluate it.
On all of them.
Yeah, there's only one that bid on all of them.
If there's just 3.
Anyway, here, you figure it out. We'll tell you if you're right.
Okay. Well, I did call Todd and ask him if he would be available to come over and evaluate them just so we can. Okay.
You want these back in the envelopes? You want these, do you? Want these? Not the only one.
Yeah, I usually keep them.
Okay.
They all were on time.
Okay.
And I'll evaluate them and bring them next week. Okay,
That's what we used to do.
I did, the seasonal positions that we had open are closing this week, Wednesday, and then what we'll do is we'll evaluate how many we have for each position, but we will continue to accept bids, but we're just not going to keep advertising. We are going to put the sign out, start moving the highway sign like we did that one year, asking for volunteer firemen or seasonal employees. So we'll be working on that this week. The house moving saga, the house is still there. I sent a note to the sheriff and told him that we're no longer being contacted by that company. We got no contacts back last week, so I don't know where the highway patrol and the sheriff's department and we are. They did not follow through with getting a permit through planning and zoning, so I don't know where that's going to go. Hopefully we'll work on it this week, but I quite honestly, I know they went out had Heartland survey the route. I don't know, maybe cost prohibitive for them to pay them. I don't know what's going on,
Okay.
but we're working on that. Then, because people keep asking why it's blocking the road, but we don't have answers. I met with the Lake Region coordinator, Shay, last week. We talked about possible grant. I went over a lot of our operation with solid waste so she could be more familiar in order to help us. Showed her the tire machine, showed her pictures of the recycle efforts we're making. We're trying to work with the Pleasant School, but I want to work with the other two. I have had conversations with them, and they're interested in working with us as well. I'm needing to submit or go out for bid for 10 miles of overlay, and it's going to be $500,000 or so. We did, if going by last year's price, we'd paid $50,000 a mile. So it's going to be approximately $50,000 a mile. We're looking at 10 miles this year. So I want to go ahead and go out for bid this week for that. And then it closes the 30th. We'll put it in the paper. We'll send it to the companies.
Which is it different roads?
Yeah, the roads we're looking at
We
this
did
year.
1077 last year or something. What did we do last year?
Last year we did by the dam road,
1095?
lake, and we did all that.
Okay.
But this year, we're looking at Giroux Road from 2000 north to the county line, and from the railroad tracks in Parker to 7. 7 highways, 10 miles, 5 and 5.
Just resurface, just overlay.
A 2-inch or not a 2-inch, an inch and a quarter or inch and a half, depending on the ruts, overlay of the roads.
Yeah.
When we did do the comparisons last time, it was almost a wash what it would cost us for material and manpower as opposed to contracting it out. So that's the reason we're looking at that. We have the equipment and capability, but if it's pretty much a wash, that's pulling. Because when they start asphalt, they might call up Harry and say, I need everybody you got this week.
So what are we doing with our asphalt crews?
Well, they'll be moving on to chip seal and other
Chip
projects.
sealing?
Yeah, they'll be doing that.
Okay.
I think Todd is working on a 5-year asphalt plan. He showed it to me last week. We just don't have it. I'd like it in an Excel spreadsheet, but he's got the maps showing where we're doing. So probably the week after next, I'd like to bring him in as the next hot seat there.
Yeah, and I'd like to know from him as well, is gravel roads are maintained certain, they're bladed, they're gravelled, their ditches are cut. What's the difference in it, cost comparison to chip and sealing it?
Yeah, I already
That
told
road.
him that question would come up, to be
Okay.
prepared to answer that one.
Yeah. Because, yeah.
Okay, some of the other stuff I'm working on. Tish is still here, so I want to ask this question when she's still here. We keep getting calls about people wanting to start renting Bunker Hill, Parker, Blue Mound again. We had stopped that at one point in time because of COVID. Is it time to open it back up? I know she mentioned the museums, opening them back up, but what about our senior centers? I told them we're getting calls from several different sites. They want us to Blue Mound. I know I'll hear from them. They're wanting to do it for their car show. And I know the people are asking. So I don't know where we're at on.
Do we have strict guidelines on, like, if somebody rents a cleaning it afterwards? And then we do a deposit, or how's that work?
I honestly think we would have to clean it afterwards, because I don't know that, we have the machines like those.
So we're gonna figure that into the,
Well, it's a set fee and it's not very much. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's $50 or something. We did up it because of all the extra cleaning that was being done, but it is factored in, yeah. But I think if it's rented, they're gonna clean it, but we'll go in and disinfect. They're still gonna have to clean it, but we'll go in there and wipe. We've got those foggers now. We'll fog it and clean it.
What's your thoughts on it?
The cleaning would be the only fire station survey. Other than that.
What we could do is, when we rent it, again, going back to the computer system, say we rent Bunker Hill for this weekend, we'll take the money from it, and then we'll write a work order that on Monday morning, we have to go disinfect it.
Okay. Burton, you raised your hand for something.
Lacey,
was having the same conversation. They decided to go ahead and open up their center, and with Danny's question about costs. But they decided to do, and I like your, but they said that rather than spend, what they do is they just rent out once a week. If it stopped being, then that 7 days saying, or something, time being gone anyway, because it wouldn't need to be the need to incur the cost of the deep clean. If you just rented it once a week, so that's what Lake's doing that.
But
Just to clarify, senior meals are out of census talking about.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So are you talking about renting it out on the weekends?
I think as long as, we could do it in the evenings as long as we're ready to go in there and disinfect it immediately. Because we do have those air fresheners.
Okay.
Or,
I just got a message from Joyce saying that they are open for the meals during the day now. People are eating there, they're not just picking up.
and they're responsible for disinfecting after the meals.
That's the East Central.
Yes.
I have a meeting with them tomorrow too in Ottawa, so. Yeah.
The other thing that, we bought those machines, and what they do after this meeting, we'll set it up and it'll run. We run them in the courthouse after hours that they filter. We do have a few more that we have not put out because people didn't want them, or for whatever reason, that I think we should offer them up to, if Lacine wants to get one and put it in there and use it temporarily, or some of these other community centers. I would be in favor of that as opposed to them just sitting around.
Okay.
And I think that's probably more for the air circulation. and
Yes.
That the cleaning of the air, not necessarily.
Yes, we still have to-
Surfaces that need to be cleaned.
Yes.
So, Jim, what's your thoughts on opening back up?
I'm good with opening.
You?
I'd like to see them open up again.
Just,
As long as we're ahead of it on cleaning.
that's the main thing. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did have an issue that came up, and it's come up before. Here's a culvert, and this was before the heavy down in Prescott.
Oh, yeah.
The one Danny called me on. I did do some research on it, contacted some people, because the question is, the culvert's failed, and it's under a county road, but it's in the railroad right of way. They have a 105-foot right of way there. And so the question was, can we replace it? And the answer is no. I have to start working with the railroad to try to get them in there to replace it.
So what do you think you're going to get back from them? I mean,
I just got the information a few minutes ago.
oh, okay.
They gave me, but the statute says that basically the corporation owning, operating a railroad cross a public highway road, including all grading, bridges and ditches and culverts within the right of way. So that's their culvert, and that was the answer I gave the person.
I can't even imagine what it looks like right now. With all the
Pardon?
rain we got last night. It's probably, he was worried about, he's fertilizing it and planting stuff and it's washing.
And he's right, he's got a valid concern,
Yeah.
but if I go to digging out, I mean, it's particularly close to a railroad. I need to contact them.
It runs right here, right?
Yeah. So it's within 25 feet, and it's their drainage along the railroad. So they have 105 feet from the center of the rail. So we worked on that. Another thing we're working on that we're getting ready to kick off, we got our proposals on the magnesium chloride, and it's going to be about what it was last year.
Okay.
And so we're going to be kicking that out here pretty quick.
Did you get a chance to look at the Yancey Road when I called you that day? The culvert, or the way they graded it, or the gravel was gonna,
Yeah, I called.
the concern was.
I didn't get up there to look at
Okay.
it, but I asked.
Did you get Jason or
Steve
somebody,
to look at
please?
it. Yep.
It's
I
probably.
did not hear back from him on that. Yeah, there's so much little odds and ends here today. Okay, the Blue Mound Township has made a request that, and I need a little guidance on that. They're extending their cemetery. Here's a picture of each way there. This one, they're coming that way, direction south, I think. We cleared that for them a couple years ago. Now they want us to put in 2 culverts. What I would propose is.
Is
they
it,
pay
is
for
that
the
city?
culvert.
Is it in the city? It's in the township, but not the city? Okay, okay.
I would propose that we ask them to pay for the culvert for the installation.
Isn't that how we typically do it?
No,
This is oddball.
it's kind of weird.
That's with the
This is
township.
for a government entity, and so
government
there's
entity,
no
yeah.
reason you can't do that.
Have we ever done it any other place?
We never had I don't remember.
I'd
In
be,
fact, it's a town.
I mean, I'd be okay with it.
I mean, we
Well,
had other requests from, to take buildings down for nonprofit and stuff like that. So I would recommend tell them, if you buy a culvert, we'll install one. They want 2 entrances for their.
Yeah, they get money too, so I wouldn't be opposed
That's
to
what
it.
we do to landowners whenever they ask for a new one, right? I mean, if it's a new
If it's
culvert.
No, not a new one. We charge them the entire bill for a
Yeah.
new one, but a replacement.
It's
is all
for life,
We pay, yeah. For
So-
the
Or-
initial one,
till we forget that rule.
they take the-
Would we give them gravel or how's that work?
I would just put the ground in there.
Sounds fair to me.
If they pay for the culvert,
Yeah.
you install it with the gravel.
Yeah.
And it looks like it'd take a 12 or 18.
Do you have any problems with that?
No, I mean, the question we always have to ask when we're spending tax money is it for a public purpose?
Right,
And this clearly is for a public.
right. You need a motion for that? Or not? I'll make a motion that we allow, Jackie to, Do
Reach
the
out to
two-
Russell Beth and.
yeah, get with the mayor of Centerville and the township, and allow these 2 culverts to go in, and they'll pay for the culverts, we'll pay for the installation, right?
Yes, and if that's not acceptable, I'll bring it back to you and tell you what to do.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye. What else you got?
There's a pile. People's burial permit. I have an application for a burial permit from People's. Map of it. I think it's on that road that goes to Hell's Bend. They're gonna have to saw cut it. It's an open trench, and it's a crossing right there. And we've looked at it, it's fine.
Is it just a gravel road?
Yeah, but it's solid rock. It's gonna be a saw cut. There's no.
You wanna look at
it?
So when we do something like that, is there regulations where they have to like go back with concrete under, on top of it, or how's that work? I mean,
It's
is that,
in the permit, what they have to do.
oh, okay.
Compaction and all that.
You got the check form? Okay.
Can you go back to the folder for just a second? Which township?
Well, downtown. I don't, Rick said Centerville,
Yeah, you never know what I'm gonna say.
we always take Rick for what he means.
Yeah. That's right. I'm often quoted that way too. So I'll make a motion that we allow BP 2021-02. It's a road crossing cutting across for fiber optic cable for People's Telecommunications at 208 North Broadway, Lacine, Kansas.
A second.
Moved and second, all in favor? Aye. What else?
I've got some safety meetings this week planned. I did talk to Prescott, like you guys asked, on the compactor. And the reason that, and they're pretty strongly opposed to doing it. They think, they had several reasons. Hours of operation, because people getting off work, we're closed at 4. A lot of people will dump, they're staying open till 6. And then the people they employ, they think it's pretty critical, that's the job that they do. They're not exactly fit to do some of the other jobs. So they're
What was that last part? again?
elderly.
Unemployed sometimes.
Yes, they're elderly and that they're able to do the job, but.
Okay.
I asked them, well, what about if we altered our hours or somehow use that person but I need to get in conversations with Al to see if that's even practical.
Could we utilize them like maybe utilize them in the weigh house or in the, what do you ever call it? The little house?
Scale house?
Scale house.
Probably.
Because we just have guys that run in and out there, right? I mean, couldn't we have
But then we are employing another
Yeah,
person.
that's probably, that's the city employee, that's gonna count employee.
And if we tried to extend our hours and let them come in, part of the problem with that would be we need a skid steer to push that trash into the hole. Now we don't have any way, once it starts building up, to move it.
with the time change? I was going to ask about that. The time change, it doesn't get dark until 8 or 9 now or whatever. But is there? I mean, do we ever alter our hours? I mean, most people don't get off until
They
5.
they set their hours. Oh, you mean for
The
our
city
site?
sets their hours.
No, it's always been that because of all the compactor sites. We usually stop accepting CD at 3:30 because we have to have time to cover and get people back out of there. But as far as the rest, they use the compactors for most of that. The only people most of what's dumped there is commercial operations.
Is it a possibility that we can, move things around and make it possible to stay open till 5?
Tough decision.
I could look at it and see
Maybe allow somebody, to come in an hour after, or whatever. I mean, I don't know how we could do that, but
because the city sites stay open till 6 usually.
Does the Prescott stay open 6 every night or just?
No, they have all their hours are different. I don't.
but they're like
have
1
any.
to 6, right? Or something.
Pardon?
Prescott's 1 to 6, right?
Yes, about 3 days a week, I think, and then on the weekends, some of them are open Sunday afternoons for the convenience of people. Mound City has changed theirs, and they're open even more hours. What we have to do when they do that is we have to apply for permission from KDHE to hold this, so it's not a real simple thing. We have to go through KDHE to change the hours.
So do you think it'd be a possibility? I mean, I'd just like
It's a
maybe
possibility.
see us open. Maybe if we just had 1 or 2 guys there or whatever until 5 o'clock. 4 o'clock's kind of a weird time for like a landfill.
Okay, let me talk to Al and see how he thinks it would impact his
How do you guys
operation.
feel about that?
How late do they get to dump? Did you say with the CD at the landfill?
3:30.
3:30, they can dump till 3:30.
Yep, that gives us 30 minutes to cover, or if it's a hand unload, which some of these people's a hand unload that takes 30 minutes or longer, it gives us a chance to get them out.
Okay.
And here's I wanted to just give you some of my notes on Gary and it just notes of the compactors. And another copy of one of the contracts. Airport development, we did meet with an individual last week that had some interest possibly in a flight school over there. It's real preliminary, but he had a lot of questions about the way things are structured, so we'll be bringing that as time goes. Chris and I went up to Centerville last week. We took a generator, tested all the equipment, the emergency outage equipment, and everything works pretty good. And I think that's about all. I do need 20 legal and 10 personnel.
Well, you mentioned Centerville. I know that there was a little bit of repairs going to happen on that community center. Is that?
That's been completed and done.
It's been completed.
Yep. What they did is they tuck point it. We dug down to give them access to it, and they sealed it with a sealer and then put insulation up against it. And then we put plastic up against that and then buried it all.
Awesome. Also, York Lane out there, you remember that road?
Yeah.
Debbie Blue. She reached out to me again. She's reached out to me a few times. What's the status on that? I remember that we had talked about putting in the newspaper, or what? I can't remember exactly what the status on it was. Do you guys?
It's the lady, it's not a road that we had maintained it.
But we've maintained it for
but we stopped maintaining it about 3 years ago.
Right, because there's that little piece that turns onto the wildlife, and I guess somebody at the wildlife retired or something, and can't do a Pam Moore. Does that ring a bell? Do you know her? Debbie had reached out to her, and she was, in favor of trying to help or whatever. So and I'm gonna call her and talk to her. I just didn't know what, I thought we had done something on that, but then
No.
Anything we feel like we could do.
Yeah, it's private property.
but we've dug it, we put a new culvert in for him and dumped a bunch of rubble on the side of the road. I mean, we maintained it for how many years?
I don't know.
So what's your thoughts? What are you trying?
Get it figured out, what we're gonna do.
Okay.
I would like to,
Even if we wanted to claim that road, which is a problem because half of it is in the federal wildlife.
it was just a little tiny, where it turns off of that main road.
Well,
It turned.
no, the road runs down the line between her and the
I
wildlife.
thought we decided.
Oh, I thought it was just that little turn.
But there's a place up there where it turns off, where it's all within the federal wildlife. So even if we wanted to claim the road, we got two issues. One is we don't have access to the road because the federal government owns all of it up the north end. And second, we couldn't claim but half the road because half of it lies in the federal wildlife park.
And technically they could be doing some really negative things for her on it, but they're just gonna let sleeping dogs lie and not claim that entry road and all that, because her entry is totally on them, on federal property.
They could cut off their access altogether if they wanted to, but they've agreed to just sort of ignore it. If we wanted to make an issue of it, we'd be fighting with the.
Well, I mean, I just don't understand why they wouldn't be in favor of it gives them access to all their road, and that's why I was gonna reach out to Pam, and I just think it's very unfair to her that we maintained the road for 60 years and then put new culvert in it. We took a culvert out, put a new one in, dumped all this rubble in her ditches and all this stuff, and then we tell her, hey, sorry, we're not doing that no more. I'd be pissed off too. I mean,
The only thing
the
is,
road's not that bad. I mean, there's there's potholes and stuff because there hasn't been maintained in 2 years or whatever, but
but it's still, I'll do whatever you guys say, but it's still illegal for us to work on private property.
well, I understand.
And that's
that. I
where
would
the
like to
problem
work with-
came up.
I mean, the federal wildlife, and I haven't talked to Pam yet, but I will, because I want to get it taken care of. It's either we do or we don't. It's been going on for a year, and I feel like that her being in my district, I'm letting her down because I haven't gave her the answers that, either yes or no answer. And I would like to see it done, but
That's Baloo, Debbie Baloo. I couldn't remember last name, but we have others that are just the same, that we stopped doing private roads or driveways.
You didn't do anything wrong. We'll figure it out one way or the other,
Okay.
because there's several, like you said, there's several people, and if we do start to do that, then we're going to have other people, and if we're not supposed to be doing it in the first place, we probably shouldn't be. If it's not going on private property or federal property or whatever, I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
but we need to really take a hard stance and a hard look at what we've done. You all found out something we weren't supposed to be doing, and we stopped it. And I understand the landowner is mad, and I would be mad too, but is that her only access in and out?
that's the only thing she has.
Or does she have property to get around it?
She has no property to get around, and she can't put her driveway on out because there's a strip pit. So, I mean, and I see where she's coming from. I mean, since that was the reason she bought a house and built it there was because of that road. And then we maintained it for how long? I feel like there'd be some kind of grandfather clause or something. I don't know. I mean, I don't know the laws, but,
If you as commissioners wanted to go to court and claim that's a public road by prescription because you have met the statutory requirements thing, you could do that. You could try to do that. You could go to court. I'm not saying you necessarily win. You could go to court and say, we own this road, but the party on the other side is the U.S. federal government.
and that's where, and you know, from what Miss Blue told me that, you know, that the wildlife was in favor of, you know, allowing us to do it or working with us to do it. I'm going to call her and talk to Pam. She took over somebody's role there at the wildlife, I guess. But
My understanding of their position in the past is they demonstrated their being in favor of it by not taking steps to shut it down. Because they could deny our access. And they said, we'll just ignore it and let her use it.
I mean, I get that, but I feel like as a county, we owe it to her to allow her to help her figure out, if we're not going to do that, we got to figure out access to her own house. I mean, what are you going to do? Make her park on the road and walk across? I mean,
Well, I'm not arguing one way or the other. I'm just saying that there's a way to approach it, but it involves suing the federal government if you want to do that.
that's if they're not in favor of working with us.
If they won't grant some, they previously indicated they wouldn't grant us anything, but they would just ignore it if we.
And the reason, and then the way I understand what you're saying, Gary, is we need that approval in order to legally go through there, even though we've done it for years, the way we've done it. And her issue is the road is not, it's not good, in good condition right now. Is that what it is?
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to go about 5 miles an hour down because there's so many potholes and,
And it's be almost like a public drive, right? It would be right now if private drive, yeah. And we're saying that the county has no access. If the federal government shut that down and said, no, put the fences up, she's not driving on it, then we would be forced to figure out, yes, because we can't landlock somebody
We
in.
wouldn't be landlocked, anybody. They,
Okay. So in that case, that's right then, right?
yeah,
Okay.
Well, I don't want to offer any further advice on this.
Right.
Because we're talking about some possible litigation, but I'll
and I don't want it to be a huge deal. And that's what, you know, I'll talk to Pam or whatever, or whoever I need to. I just owe it to Ms. Blue to give her an answer because she's been waiting for over a year on it. So it's either we do or we don't. And I understand there's all kinds of roads we do this, you know, that, you know, if we do this, we'll have to do it, or, you know, whatever will be brought up. But, you know, it's just, we pulled a culvert out, and I went out there and looked at it. We pulled a culvert out and moved it on down the road to, you know, in that driveway, we moved it on down and we dumped rubble, big boulders like this on both sides of her ditch. So, I mean, if that's the case, then
if we
I
made
would
a
want that
mess on
pulled out.
somebody's private property, we can go in and clean up the mess we made.
No, it's not a mess. It was when the road was fixed.
Yeah, I mean,
So you're saying we probably should talk any legal stuff in legal. So let's do that when we get ready to go in there and talk more about it.
20 legal, 10 personal.
That's it?
What about the land over on Old 69 that we talked about, thinking about selling the 5 acres?
I contacted him, said we would entertain an offer, talk to Gary.
He called me Friday, wanted to know how much of an offer you wanted. I said, that's not how an offer works. And so, because we're talking about the possibility of, I told him to get back with an offer, so.
Okay.
All right.
I need
So
5 minutes land. Is it land accusation or what is that?
No, we talking about on this road situation?
No, totally different situation.
Yeah, preliminary decision on the acquisition of real estate.
Sure. That's what I need. 5 for that.
5. Tim for legal over there.
No, you said 20 for legal and 10 for.
Yeah, he needs 20 for legal. Need 10 for legal for this, what we just talked about. Hey, you need to leave at what time to get to power plant? So, okay. So I'll make a motion. We go into legal for, what'd you need legal? 10? Stand by for this. 10 for personnel with Tisha, 20 for 10, and I need 10 as well, and Danny needs how much
5.
for what?
Real
Land?
land, real estate, whatever he said, yeah.
Yeah,
You got 30 legal in total, 20 personnel in total, 5 on real.
that's my motion.
Second.
Moved and second, all in favor? Aye.
Second, you say you're not leaving.
Thank you for taking that call. I can agree with
Sometimes.
That's a whole different story.
You got anything else, Dave?
No, I'm good.
We didn't accomplish anything in there, all those meetings. I didn't want you to leave, though. You never know.
I might read this notice, of sale of real estate. Board of Commissioners of Linn County, Kansas has determined by unanimous vote on March 15, 2021, which is today, in its regular meeting, that it's advisable to sell the highest, best bidder of the following real estate. Lot 51 in the north 5 feet of lot 50, block 121, Pleasant, which is the old health department building. Property known as 902 Main Street. Sealed bids should be submitted to the office of the county clerk before 9 a.m. Monday, April 12, 2021. Bids will be open during the commissioner meeting on that day. The property is being sold as is, with one exception. There is a blank kilowatt natural gas powered generator. Couldn't remember how many kilowatts it was. Connected to the building that is being offered separately. Bidders wishing to purchase the generator with the building should include a separate cash offer for the generator in their sealed bid. The commission reserves the right to reject all bids. If the sale triggers the application of KSA 120, there may be a waiting period pursuant to that statute before closing can occur. Interested parties may schedule an inspection showing of the property during business hours by contacting Jackie Messer.
Okay.
If that's acceptable,
For me, yeah.
then you need to vote to give notice of your intent to sell that building in 902 Main Street.
That's my motion.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
I was wondering too about the comprehensive plan. Is Andy around to talk about that any?
Let's pull him in.
I talked to Doug Moore. He called me this week.
Oh, yeah. I've talked to him. I haven't talked to him
See
recently.
the letter, there, some came, this is the schedule.
Yeah. I got it. I read it too, but I talked to him at a couple different.
And I told Andy that Pale is doing the exact same thing we're doing through their county. So he knows Teresa Moreau and you know, getting together and talking with them.
I might show you one other thing if you are willing. Hey, Mitch. This is the attorney's office in the new building. When the previous county attorney was there, he had him redesign it to take out these individual
Right.
offices. And now, and so that was what they actually bid on, was a plan with a big open space. The current county attorney felt the offices were a better deal, and so they've redesigned it now. So that's what it's gonna look like. We don't have any kind of a price variance on it yet, but we're just looking at the design. So if you have any,
Gary, I thought when we did that and Larry took it out, Larry Goldberg took that out, the price wasn't going to change.
it shouldn't,
Okay.
or at least not much.
Right.
I mean, there's a little more material involved because they bid it without walls, and now there's gonna be walls.
Right.
But they said when they took it out, they left all the infrastructure in place.
Right.
The vents, the reception.
So
Right.
Just have some metal studs and sheetrock. I mean,
And so it's just a matter of putting in some walls. It should be, but I just want to make it clear we don't have a price if there is any difference. We don't
Okay.
have a price.
So Andy, we just wanted some updates on the comprehensive plan. Probably get one from you every week or two.
call Jackie. Okay, I was in the bathroom,
Oh,
so
Right.
get a hold of Jackie.
Yep.
Okay.
Agenda. Looks like we're gonna try and get started this week.
And as everybody, have you verified that all the members know, all the committee members know about whatever meetings they may or may be having? Okay.
No, I understood Doug to say that as far as him coming up here, that isn't in the base bid. Some, but not very many. Is that the way?
This is gonna be done virtually. Posting something on our web page.
How long of a time frame are we talking here to get this done? I mean, yeah, yeah, I looked at it some, but I don't have it with me. As far as to have it completed, it's pretty fast, right?
So the whole thing is going to be done in what, a year?
February,
Yeah.
okay.
Can you send me the electronic copy of that so I can find out what that is?
Oh, yeah.
Copy.
Yeah, can we take this? Yeah.
And they're breaking down, you don't even know what the committees will be involved in yet?
You know, that's kind of what we hired these people to do. was
Right.
take care of the process.
Yeah.
And I don't.
I just want to make sure all of our members know that they're being contacted and then find out if they have been contacted because,
Well, he made me feel like, and I gave his number out to a few people that he wanted to talk to more and more people in the county,
Right.
as many as he could. Right.
So with the COVID, you might have already asked, with the COVID thing, are they gonna be able to do in-house stuff, come to the county like they talked about?
couple of times though, because of the way when we did this deal, we didn't do the most expensive plan that he had. We did either the cheapest or almost the cheapest.
That's what he talked
Yeah.
about as far as.
And it was, and I don't know what Miami County's doing there, because I told you they're in the paper, they're doing their plan right now too, and I don't know who with or any of that, but I'm sure they spent a lot more than we would have.
I know, I think TDL is just finishing out the comp plan for road Oklahoma. And $175,000.
That's where he lives, Grove, Oklahoma. Oh.
Yeah. So,
Contracted with them for
35? 38? Something like-
34,000 is what I'm
Yeah.
understanding.
When was the last,
We might not get a whole lot.
when was the last comp plan done?
Now, am I understanding this right? Once we get this, we should go back every couple of years and look at this and update, or if it's not,
you should review it every year.
okay.
And we've always made a point when we're having meetings, you know. But just people are not making applications.
Right, right.
Yeah, but by statute, it has to be.
Now, so will Doug be the one as far as pushing these meetings? I mean, that we got like on that, is he the one that's gonna be in charge of making sure this happens when,
Yes.
okay.
Facilitate the whole process.
I think we got some pretty good people that help out with it,
I think you do.
and it'll go all different
Now,
directions.
did you pass that on to the committee?
No, because he was gonna contact them this week.
He was gonna contact them. Okay. So they'll get it then, you think, or, okay,
I know I talked to one on Friday, but they've not been contacted yet.
Okay.
okay.
Now, will you'll be involved with the process too, the whole time, right?
Involved in the process to the point, but I don't want it to be Andy's plan.
Right, right. Yeah.
It's a citizen's plan.
I just want you to stick your nose in it. And then make sure everybody that we wanted, and then whatever other committees and stuff that you know what the hell the process is, what's going on in the process.
How many committees do you see besides the one that we picked? How many more committees will there be?
Subcommittees, you mean? Yeah.
There'll be focus groups, you know, on different topics.
How many do you think?
That's one I was, probably had, you know, probably 12 different topics.
So you have 12 different focus groups of what, 5 to 6 people, or is it, how?
However many wants to have them.
So,
This table is this, and this table is that.
so who puts it all together and puts it into the plan? You?
BTS.
IBTS puts it all together. Okay.
So that focus group will present them with their ideas, and then he'll put it into,
Then we'll bounce it off the Citizens Advisory Committee. Take that input and then formulate the plan from there.
and then we approve it or just,
Are they still gonna do a survey in the mail or something? Didn't you talk about that?
Yeah. Well, they said they've done a lot of different things, like if we would have had, where we had the arts and crafts set, they'd,
That'd been nice.
do time to solicit input.
now will we have any meetings besides the survey? Are they gonna have a group meetings for the people in Linn County to come to?
Public hearings for planning commission, public hearings. Yeah.
Okay.
Are they still gonna give away a car? That's why I asked them, as an incentive.
Andy, we just wanted an update. That's probably
That's all, yeah.
every week or two, or every couple of weeks, just an update, even if it's really what's going on, but appreciate that.
Sending me a message, she started with this commission still meeting, so I don't know if she needs something or not, so
Okay.
don't determine right now.
Okay.
She's still back. I can see what it is. Just don't get it, Daddy, double it back there.
Nothing back there.
Got mine right here, hiding right here behind me.
Good thing we don't put Red Bull back there instead of coffee.
Take some home to the kids, I think.
I found the ones from last week, they were smooshing my sleeping last night.
Okay, the question about the health department building.
They got everybody new signs? That these? Pretty nice.
It lights up when you talk, Danny. Hey, did, Mark, do you know if, the silver-haired legislator, do we have anybody that you would know that signed up for it? Applied for it? I know it's an elected position, but have you heard?
I don't know. Usually when they do, we get something in the paper, but I haven't heard
Right.
anything yet.
Dave, have you heard anything about it? It's kind of a separate, kind of an odd way to elect people, but, yeah. Yeah,
I told the ladies about it.
I told people too.
I don't know whatever happened with it.
I said, you don't have silver hair, but you have brown hair. Are you gonna run? Oh. You're old enough, aren't you, or no? I'm just kidding.
That's nothing right.
About how old are you? You'll learn, Danny. You'll learn.
Barb's gave me a lot
I
of.
don't know.
I don't either. So David, we're still on hold here, right? Are you done with that?
Somebody.
Okay. Okay. You got anything else, Danny?
I don't.
I don't have any.
All right, I'll make a motion, we adjourn. Whoa. Yeah, but you're the press. That'd be a conflict of interest. Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye. You want a free magazine? It talks about you.